Okay, I had to do it for formality's sake. I forgot to press that button, so that was me staring at screens doing all of the let's start the stream prep. So welcome to the broadcast, everybody. We're getting back into our little game dev project again today. Should be lots of fun. We're going to be looking at some spawning logic. Hey there, Rex. Welcome, welcome. Right in here at the beginning. Then we're going to be looking at some spawning logic. Right now, everything spawns at 0, 0. Yes, I've added a vertical format stream. So we have widescreen and vertical format on YouTube, and then on Twitch we have widescreen. So watch whichever one you like. Last dev stream, I forgot to start the vertical one, so oops and whatnot. Yeah, we're running 3 at the moment. I mean, technically I would run a lot more if I could get away with it, but 3 is about my bandwidth limit. Let's check in with the kitties before we get too much further, though. We do have Ember in her traditional spot across from the keyboard. It looks like Sammy has taken over Sky's spot. She is twirling around there a little bit. You can see Sky next to her on the little canvas bridge just watching, since she's in his napping space. Mason and Sherbet are on the bed together. Let's zoom in on this. We don't normally get to see Sammy this energetic. Could see a single freeze frame there. There we go. Keep saying it. I do need to try a different method for swapping the camera scenes, see if I can make it cleaner. I have ideas, but haven't tried them yet because it'd be a whole thing. All right. So, one of the things we're facing is that all spawning is happening at 0, 0. Let me show you. So, player appears at 0, 0. That's okay. Blob appears at 0, 0. Blob's attack comes from 0, 0. So now we're going to get two little red bullets, 3 little red bullets at a time. Everything coming from 0, 0. That's not what we want. We want the blobs appearing from the edge of the screen, and that's, I think, pretty doable. One thought I have is to have a known border. Something that is definitely off the edge of the screen at all times. And that thing can either, move around the screen in a fixed interval, variable intervals, something like that, to create the default waves of enemies. Special waves of enemies will be a completely different thing, but we shall see. Of course, I left my water bottle elsewhere, but we'll get it. We'll get it in a little bit. So that's one of the things we're trying to accomplish here, is we need to figure out a way to get those spawning positions in place. Once we have that, we can start looking at stuff and things. We can look at adding new creature types and starting to build up the scripting of the spawning. That is how the waves go. If you watch a game like Vampire Survivors or similar, it's not random what comes after you, really. There will be sequences, like at particular times, a wave of bats is likely to spawn and zoom across the screen. This type of creature appears at this minute, kind of thing. some scripting to what's going on. And so we want an engine to drive that. But first, we have to get the basics in place. So right now, spawners don't have logic for where to put things. So can we do that? So spawner is just a node. The blob is a physics body 2D. Character body 2D. So a node 2D has a transform. It has a position. Let's go into the process for the first blob that we spawn. So go into this. We're gonna unpause. Okay, the object itself, the blob, does have different positioning, so we have access to that. The object's body, or at least the blob script, its body has access to that. Body is part of mob body. Hey there, local. Well, welcome, and I appreciate it. Sorry if I don't notice your messages super fast. I am looking at the code, but I do intend to be stopping and chatting with everybody. That's kind of the point. But welcome, and I appreciate the compliment. Okay, so spawner can be told where to spawn things. So let's see here. We could have... go into the script of a spawner. It is a class named spawner. We could have... we're going to use set spawn point. X as int. You know what? We're just going to use a position as a vector 2. We are local. We're making a Survivor style game. Haven't really done this kind of thing before, and you know, it's a GD script, so it's a learning experience. And what's sad, Steven? You know what? No. I see. Okay, so now we have spawn position set up, and the blobs code. We can go in. It varies quite a bit. So how do you get it made? You need to find an artist that can make them in the format that you want them made in. Like Live 2D is a particular skill set. You need to make the model in a fashion that will work for it, and then you need to animate it. It's akin to like 3D rendering. And that you need somebody that knows how to do it and is willing to do it for money. They vary wildly. You're probably looking at, well, let's just say the sky's the limit. Assume 3 digits and then run upwards from there. That's why for a lot of folks who want to get into it, I always suggest try doing whatever you want to do with it first, even if it means not using an avatar at all. It doesn't have to be on camera. Just, if you're going to do it for streaming, try streaming without it. Get used to the concept. Figure out how you're going to do that. And then once you figure out, well, I feel comfortable doing this kind of thing, like I want to stream, I want to make videos, whatever. Once you realize that or decide that you're comfortable doing that, then start looking into the extra expenses that you're dealing with. Upgrading anything that you might need to do that, getting editing software, getting cameras or what have you. And a character avatar, if you're looking at VTubing, is another thing that is an expense. It's a tool for the stream or for the videos or what have you. And because of that, and because of the expense of something like Live 2D, I would suggest either starting with PNG tubing, which is flat image based. Usually the minimum that you usually see is 2 images, one that is like mouth open talking and the other one that is still. And then while a person is talking, the thing will switch between mouth closed, mouth open, bounce, that kind of stuff, to give a slight animation. And it can be more complex from there depending on how much you have. That is a cheaper way to start developing the avatar that you want to use. Fantastically cheaper. And again, it's a further way to practice, to develop your skill set. So for 2D stuff, there's some kind of standard software for that. There is a 3D version. I cannot remember what it's called, but there's some 3D software for that kind of model that has some different tools that you use with it. We're not talking like full motion 3D, just 3D for stuff like this, that lets you generate a character model using its toolkit. Yeah, can't remember what it's called, but that's another one if you want to jump in that direction. So in the blob's body, I go in during function physics process. Hey there, we're gonna go with Lucky. There was already a Max in the channel, so for differentiation, hello Lucky. Looks like you have a little cat with a wizard's hat or a witch's hat on. That's cute. Well, thanks, Local. I appreciate it. We're going to try this. The red bullets should appear from the blobs. Transform. We're gonna X. This feels crude, but we're gonna do it this way. Just get it working. Stop. Restart. What's going on here? A vector 2i. For those curious, we are making a game here. Simple starting stuff. We're not quite at Hello World level, but, you know. Let's look up the transform. Get angle 2 could be useful, but that's not what we're looking for yet. It just exists in space, essentially. Is it actually having that problem? Yeah, it is. Yeah. One more time. It's not going to change. I just want to see the values that we're getting out of this. We're not assigning a vector 2, right? Oh, that's extra weird. Hey there, AJ. Welcome. Right, we're getting nils here. This is spawns fail to happen, is what's happening here. We are instantiating a blob, but wonder, is there a better pattern for this? Can I make it a new of that type? I don't know if it's new. Or I don't know how to new it. It's not a new thing. It's a one of these. Okay. So there's a problem in Blob Body's physics processing that happens immediately. That I don't like what's happening here. Hey there, Laidback. We are making a simple game. We're trying to. We're debugging. We're debugging. We're using Godot engine. I think 4 is the latest. Okay, that's functional again. Giggles. Make sure that that's working. Okay. So simple stuff. Like I said, survivor's game, I think I said. So general idea is, you know, things swarm the players. Player gets increasingly powerful. Either the player gets overwhelmed by the things or pushes back the things until you hit a time limit. Position. One of the things we want to accomplish today is improve the spawning logic. Okay, that's not breaking. And part of improving that spawning logic is getting it's a bit roguelike. Getting that spawning logic is going to be getting the spawn position set. Hey there, Yuri. Welcome, welcome. We're really just getting rolling, folks. In theory, the bullets will emit from the blobs now. Yeah. I appreciate it, Yuri. I appreciate it. All right. So we got the blobs. Projectiles isn't necessarily something that I'm putting in the game, but I'm getting logic in there just in case. I do need to set the bullets on a layer above all of the blobs. Step into them. Look, okay. All right, so we've got that. Now, we need to get the blobs coming in from outside. Right now they spawn at world origin 00, which is fine for the player but isn't good for the blobs. So we're going to go into our game scene. Our spawner here. Into 2D. So this is our camera space. If we put the spawner outside of camera space, then we should always be able to spawn something off camera and pull it in. But I need to make sure that it tracks the player. So in theory, it should have to be part of the player. Am I certain of this? No, but that's what we're going with. I could use a path that would sort of rotate around. Okay. Hey there, Recron. Welcome, welcome. Joining us for some rookie game dev. Going to... We have to do clockwise to get it to face inward. I'm not really worried about the face inward. We are making a game, Recron. We're trying to make a Survivors style game. Right. An editor of what kind, Recron? I'm not familiar with J-Man. I see. It's the curve. Okay, we have a path that moves around now. I think that's what we need. Emma, we are trying to make a game in Godot engine. Right now, I am setting up a path element around the edge of the screen ideally so I can run an entity along it to get a position that varies over time. Then what I'll do is I'll use that position to be the point where monsters spawn, so that I can have whatever it is kind of zipping around the screen and go from there. But ultimately, what I might do is draw a bubble around the player, like a sphere around or a circle. And instead of doing the spawner, I'll get... I mean, I'm aware of... I can do that off camera. Okay. I see that it's a game that seems aptly named there, Recron. Right, what I want is to get a point on that path. I guess makes sense. All right, how do we tell it how fast to move? Ultimately, we'd want whatever is dealing with that to know where the spawn point is. No worries there, Recron. No worries. Let's... pop another label in here. No, so if we go into the script here, hey there, Keats. Don't know if this is... Look up this symbol. Let's read. Hey, spectator. We're doing some coding. Making a bit of a game. How are you doing? And how are you doing, Keats? So what we're working on right now is we want these blobs to spawn off camera and move in. So they would spawn off the edge of the screen. You can't see me pointing. I am not familiar with who Sadie or Chloe are, Philip. But I will say hello to Sadie and Chloe for you if that's what you're looking for. You know, as I just did. Okay, so what we want is for them to move in from the outside. So we need to periodically get the position. How to become a mod? Be part of the channel for a long time. That's pretty much how it go. Let's see. Some of the mods, the two people that are acting as mods right now, one of whom isn't around as much, but one of the mods has been watching the stream for a few years now. It's active in the community and kind of long time trusted. Those are the two elements. And I appreciate your enthusiasm, but it's something that is built up over time. Oops, and rotates. Okay, if we set the progress of the loop, can you not hear me? Okay. So if we make the progress of the loop variable, then we can get semi-random behavior. Because we don't want it to appear to be a spiral, you know? I mean, please don't put something inappropriate in chat, because then I have to go in and correct it. I mean, that's part of the reason that I don't put the chat on the screen, so I don't have to worry about it being recorded. But I would appreciate it if you don't, nonetheless. Oh, yeah. A point. we do have folks that show up and assume that and make assumptions about appearances. Anywho. So if we set progress to a random float between 0 and 1, that will give us a position somewhere around the screen. So in the game code, at the moment, the slimes are a little placeholder. I didn't actually intend to use the slimes as the enemy, but I happen to have an animated sprite of the slimes. I'll have to change those to use the underscore, since these are, I believe, meant to be internal methods, which I want them to be. Yeah. Function. Physics process. Float. 0. Give me a definition here. Random float range. Okay, there we go. Zero to 1. That returns a float. Let's not be too redundant. So what we're doing here is now we're going to say you are the spawner path. Okay, and then spawner dot spawn position, spawner path dot think it's position. All right, for science. Yeah, it's working. Oh, no, that's not working. Okay, it's not moving with the player. This is not moving with the player. Needs to move with the player. Child of the player. You'd hope it would do that. Let's... All right. Hey there, Ghost. Yep, we have Sky on camera, I think. Let's zoom in to be sure. Pretty sure that's going to be Sky. Yeah, Sammy vacated his spot, so he reclaimed it. While we're at it, let's do a cat check. Huh, I think Sammy is looking out the window, yeah. But we have a double there, so I'd zoom in a bit. Mason and Sherbet. Bottom to top, respectively. Okay. Add we're going to add a sprite 2D just because for now. Child of you. That. Pause. Okay, if any of them start coming from up here, it's working. But right now, none of them are. They're all down there still. The flickering brick is for testing purposes. It's weird that that's not working, because that brick should be, given where it's appearing. The brick is following the path follow 2D, which is rotating around the edge of the screen. Its position should be what it's using to spawn. ratio, and now its position is that. Eight, 6, 10. Okay, it's flickering all over the place. That's what we want it to do. Hey there, Crazy. Wonder if it's a random seed issue. No? Again, the flickering block is not meant to be there. All the blobs are down here. All right, and that block is where... Okay, right there. The path is not following me. Following the... Path follow 2D is not following path 2. This is following. But this isn't adjusting accordingly. It is a node 2D, so it can move. Well, I appreciate the compliment, Crazy Monk. And for those joining us for the first time, this is a relatively casual channel. I'm fine if you just want to watch and listen. I'm fine if you want to chat. With some games and some things like coding, I do get distracted, so I might not see your messages right away, but I will attempt to make time to read chat and respond within reason. Okay, are pre-calculated. So that's our problem. This is predetermined. And that's not what we want. Let's see. I mean, if you're tired, you should sleep there. Is it Nova? I have enough problems with sleep myself. I would definitely recommend that if you think you can sleep because of how tired you are, take it. Take the chance. And hello, welcome. Okay, so instead of using this path, because the scene isn't fixed, you know what? Let's be froggy here. Let's go into our physics process. And we're gonna try something here. Spawner path. Okay, so we're moving this thing constantly to where the player is. Well, I appreciate it, Noba. I appreciate the sub. Okay, we're going to try to hang out here. If anything spawns around here, it's still not working. We're gonna make some adjustments real quick here. I'm gonna go into our blob body. And there. There. We just want to... Spawner, your interval is 1 second. Just doing some testing here. Okay, still not working. Welcome back, Rekron. Okay, so what we've done is we're now changing the position of the path. I don't know if that'll force a recalculation at runtime. But it does have a position. Y is equal to Y. No, but making games is a matter of working on it. It's just like art or any other thing. Coding outside of games, it's all something that you try and you practice. The hello worlds of games are still games. So if you want to make games, you set aside some time and just try doing it. And hello there, 44. Welcome, welcome. Okay. All right. That's not working. I am doing okay. And hello, Pineapple. What we are trying to do is set up a random spawning logic here. I want to set up a random point around the player and have the spawns appear there, so that they then enter the screen at a fixed point. Is there a good way to get the edge of the screen? Show me documentation. Because if I can get a point at the edge of the viewport and go a little further, that would be just as well. All right. Let's brute force this. Well, thanks, Pineapple. I appreciate it. If you want to chat or not, that's fine. I try to make time to chat with folks. But if you want to just watch and listen, that's okay too. Watch the screen, listen to me talk, and listen to the music. Okay. So, we need to set up a triangle. We need to determine what the distance to the corner of the screen is, plus a little, so that we can set up our radius. We want to be a little further than what we have. So, we're using 1920 by 1080 for our screen ratio. So the height is at least 540, and the width is at least 960. Hello, Sammy. Sammy has come to visit me. So we want our radius to be the square root of 540 squared plus 960 squared. Let's get our little calculator here. No. Where's our clear? All right. Close parens. Square root. Do you mean the model? They're crazy. And in the lower left corner there, Pineapple, those are two of my cats. We can see 4 of them on the cameras right now. The 5th one is on my lap getting back scratches and being very insistent about it happening. Okay, so let's say it's about 1150. So a radius of 1150. So then I need to create we're giving ourselves a little bit of leeway. It's not enough, but we'll fiddle with it later. That's right. I should probably move the play area camera. We don't get a lot of cat traffic there. It's generally a transit point. Like, we'll see one pass through that camera. But I'll have to figure out where to put it. Overall, the positioning of the cameras does need work. Largely, I need to change it. Okay, let's see here. I won't be able to call out the positioning of them since the widescreen format is different. But the cat up in the tree is Sky. He's a puffy gray and white cat. He is the largest cat. The orange and gray cat that is on the flaky camera is Ember. She is the tiniest cat. The 2 sitting on the pillows and blankets are Mason and Sherbet. They're siblings, adoptive siblings. The top one is Sherbet. The bottom one is Mason. Mason is the second largest cat, and Sherbet is the middle-sized cat. Sammy is a tuxedo. She is second smallest. She's being very snuggly right now. Okay. So we're just going to call it direction. We're going to spell it right. It's a vector 2. Let's look at our vector 2. Sammy is a sweetheart. Sammy used to be a barn cat. She wasn't a barn cat for very long, but her slightly older brother stayed a barn cat. He stayed very fierce, and Sammy started out very standoffish and a bit aggressive. But she's since cooled down a little bit. It's still hard to trim her claws, though not as hard as Sherbet, because Sherbet won't let me at all, and Sammy will angrily allow it. Okay, it's not what we want. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to set it up so that we select a random point on a circle, a random vector representing a circle. We normalize that vector so that it is a fraction of 1, that all of the directions essentially equivalently add up to 1. Or ratios of 1, so that you just get a direction. That's what I'm trying to say here. And then we multiply it by 1150, which should be the radius of the circle. That's how far we want the line to go. And that will give us the point at which to spawn. But we've got to figure out a way to do that. From an angle. Okay. Okay. So what this is saying is it's going to take a right angle and rotate it to get this. I think that's fine, though. The thing I enjoyed doing most, professionally, I've done other things, but we're setting those aside. The thing I enjoyed doing most was making a program that generated labyrinths of any size, and then rendered them in Unity. We're not using that currently, but eventually I might. I think it was kind of fun because what I would do is say it's like a 1000 by 1000 labyrinth or something like that, and then draw it, and it was that nice little... It was a complete labyrinth with no loops. It's not out of the question to make it do loops, but it was cool. It's a solved problem. It is something that is out there. You can get algorithms that do it, but I found doing it fun. All right. We're gonna do this. Vector 2 right rotated. Angle for readability. Just in case. X times equals. I'll have to make that a constant later. Very brute forcey. Hey there, Jelly Wombat. Welcome to the broadcast. Joining us for some game dev, some rookie game dev. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm adding logic that creates a circle around the player that is outside of camera view. It's about 50 screen units outside of camera view at all times. Top and bottom, it's noticeably further than that. Where creatures will spawn. So in theory, blobs should converge from all sides, one a second. Comes one, here comes another. So that logic I had is constantly generating a circle and defining points on it. Okay. Now we're going to go up past these blobs. Got more blobs coming from above. Now the question is, do we get more blobs coming from above? Oh, wait. Do. Yeah, there's got to be a cleaner way to do what I'm doing, but again, brute forcing it for now just to get some results. So what I had done is I created that circle around origin, around the starting point of the world. We are adjusting it to be around the player. So if we keep going up, we should see blobs appearing from above us constantly. Yeah. We are using GD script. It is the internal scripting language for the Godot engine. Godot engine does support using C#. You can essentially plug that in and use create compiled code in some, things like Visual Studio Code to add in. The Godot script itself is faster at interacting with the physics at the world, in the world. C# code can be faster handling, raw math. If you efficiently write non-world physics calculations in C#, it is faster. But part of this is I want to learn a new programming language. So since we're using Godot engine, I'm going to learn GD script. We are learning GD script together. Yeah, we got blobs. We got lots of blobs. Oop. One thing that we will add is logic to make it so that if you are far enough away from a creature, that it will go away. Longer term, I want to make it so that these creatures that are added into a pool, a universal pool. Player speed, the nice thing about player speed right now is that it is... the idea is actually not to be easier to run, Mr. Pineapple. It's intentional that you would be slower than the blobs. Because part of the next stage is starting to get the player attacking. In this type of game, the player is lobbing projectiles all around them, usually automatically. So you don't want the player easily able to evade all the monsters. You want the player to have to make choices that allow them to defeat the monsters en masse. Because if they can't defeat them, they get swarmed and die. So in actuality, with the blob entity, we actually want it a little faster than the player can move. Because we want them to get run down. Yeah, right now it's moving about as fast as the player. Hey there, Reaper. Welcome. By making the blobs about the same speed as the player, you can run, but there are so many of them, eventually they'll catch up with you. Like, you can't hide forever, essentially. This is a game we're making, Reaper. Okay, we have some blobs that are kind of colliding up there. They're bouncing into each other. That's okay, though. I don't want the sort of jiggly physics that you get out of a lot of these games where the monsters that you get have a habit of, like, bumping each other forward into the player. We'll see how it works. You can see the blobs currently deal 1 damage every update frame, essentially. They'll burn you quick. Is it going to be that way forever? Dunno. But we'll see. Like, I don't know if I'm going to use an absolute, like, a percentage number for health. I don't know if we're going to use, like, a heart style system. It'll effectively, it's one of those, it'll be done when it's done, Reaper. Since this operation is as much about learning the engine as we go, I do hope to make it available. It's probably first going to be made available to things like patrons and members of the channel. For things like beta testing. If it actually gets to the point where we're releasing it on a platform, that'd be extra cool. But we're not planning for that just yet. Okay. So we have spawning working. The next thing that we want to do is create player bullets. Hey there, Jay. Ember has come to join me. She gets back scratches. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we need to make player bullets now. So we are going to in theory, I should be able to move these red bullets into the enemy folder and not have to worry about anything breaking. So then we're going to create a new resource, which is I think I used mob body for that. It happens that way, Reaper. My viewership does tend to get spread across the other streams, but, I would like to get more viewers. That would be good. But for now, I appreciate everybody that watches anyway, even if there's only one of you. make a purple bullet. Then, before we finish it, we need to create a new scene, and it derives from mob body. Purple projectile body, and it has that's the idea. That's the idea, Reaper. Is, you know, if people like what they're seeing, they like what they're seeing, and they'll keep watching. Okay, we add an animated sprite. Animated sprite is part of that. Its body is that. Let's check the red projectile body. Yep, and it has a collision shape. Okay. That collision shape is a circle. Go into our 2D. Say our sprite. Its animation is a new animation. Go into our sprite animation. We are going to add that from the cell. Let's use the purple ball. It's a 16 by 16. Select that one, add a frame. It's going to scale to 6 times size. Yes, that's Sammy on the camera now. With tuxedo. Sherbet, who was on camera, came up to sit behind my head for a moment. This thing's going to be about the size of the player. Okay, then its collision only cares about walls and enemies. It lives on the player bullet layer. Then in the player bullet object, we are going to add a script to it. We had to detach the default one. Oh, I don't have a favorite cat there, Mr. Pineapple. I like all my kitties. Okay, so this is just generic logic that makes it so that the purple bullet will hit a target, call hurt on it, and then, you know, inflict harm. Pretty much doing the same thing to a target as a player. Then if we go into, for the time being, as an attack. This will make it so by default, if a mob gets hit, it just goes away. So then we go up into the player object. And we are going to add a spawner. We need... it uses a body and it moves in a straight line. Which cat is the craziest? Ooh, I would say Sherbet and Ember play the most. But craziest is ultimately Sky. If you've ever seen YouTube videos or similar of a cat that just flings things off of shelves and the like, or makes mischief, that's Sky. If he wants something, he'll start causing trouble. All right, Reaper. Well, thanks for joining us either way. So the red projectile body, and then its movement is going to be... yeah. We need to make a universal mob pool that will just add critters to it. But for the time being... oh man, we also need to be able to pass a direction. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, folks. I need to get my water bottle, among other things. We will be right back, and then we need to come up with some additions to movement patterns that make it so that they can be to an arbitrary point and not to a target entity. So I'll be right back. All right, settling back in just a moment. Resuming in a couple of... out, just out. Okay. Back in. You. All right. You can't see Mason right now, but he's effectively off camera to the right. He was sitting on the bed near Sammy. Sky has shoved in where Ember was sitting. Sometimes he sort of snuggles up with Ember, but this time he just darted in and took her spot. All right. Welcome back, Pineapple. Or, yeah, hello, still, Pineapple. All right, so part of our problem here is a movement template has a body to track. But what we can also do so if it has a target entity, that's pretty clean how we can operate. But if it doesn't have a target entity, that's trickier. Okay, so let's consider here. If we go in to our auto loads, okay, so if we go into global nodes, I don't like how I'm using this, but we're going to use it anyway. Do this. So pass by reference. The cat cams. The cat cams are a series of I can't remember the brand, but they are indoor, kind of like low-grade security cameras, and I have kind of a brute force way of switching between them. I've mentioned that I want to clean that up, but we'll see. Okay. So it's a generic array. I don't like that, but okay, can't be of a specific type. Okay, so we can make the mobs a global entity. But I don't know if it's going to work how I want it to. Okay, so we're gonna see if I can add it to a global entity here. We're going to tell that mob to go away when we remove it. I don't think I need to remove the child when I queue it to free. Okay, so this is saying that these mobs will be part of a global listing here, a global object. So they're just extending this node. So if I go into spawner, what did I break? Sources mob. Body. Oh. We'll just bracket that since we're messing with it. Oh dear. I wasn't fond of any of those grades. I liked my time in college. Parts of it. I'd say past the first year. But the further into those grades, the worse the experience was. Later on in college was kind of nice. Then in a spawner, we're going to test this here. Okay, I don't want a mob template. I want an actual mob body for this. Is the actual mob and not its form. Testing. Hello, Ember. Ember demands attention. Let's try this again. All right, all right. That's concatenate. All right. All right. It's append and erase. All right. Worried Ember had gotten a pen. Was my day going pretty good? Why is it nil? Mob body and template are nil. Oh. That's why. Player target, don't really care about player target. A purple projectile needs a movement template. Hello, Ember. Probably not, at least initially, Pineapple. Most of the abilities that we're going to start with, most of the actual abilities, are going to be themed after the Noida mod that these come from. Back in the day, the thing that I played almost universally was Noida. And we made a mod for that where these little cat robots appeared, and that eventually became the mascot of the channel, and it was my first avatar as far as like, this. So the abilities of these will start with abilities that match what was in that mod. Laser pointers and mouse-shaped bombs and the like. Yarn balls. All my cats are learning that they can sit on my headrest from Sherbet. Even Sky is now aware of that. They've discovered that they can get attention pretty easily. Okay, we need a behavior. We have a movement. We're going to make a new one. Actually, no. We're going to go into straight line. Now we don't want knowledge of this. We're going to need to refactor movement templates almost entirely. Classy. Classy. There we go. So we have some movement to a point. Scene is a aim to detach its current script, add a new one. And we're going to use straight line as a general basis. Go in to mob. Just the upper part here. So body to track is part of the problem. We need a way to make it so that the player and the target are not automatically specified. I'm probably going to have to divide I'm going to remove those globals from the movement templates and divide movement templates into types types that like enemy projectiles use and player projectiles use. Like projectiles that move to the player, projectiles that move, to an arbitrary mob, to a random direction, that kind of thing. Those will all be movement templates that we're going to use. So, var index as an int is equal to random int range from 0 to global variables dot mobs dot size. There we go. Nice one. Yeah, 2 inclusive, so we have to minus 1 it. Because I believe it's 0 indexed. Let's verify. Starting at 0. Okay. Okay, so we get a random mob. Global nodes dot mobs. Random mob index. Okay, and then go to equal to player position point what is this? Okay, move towards a vector 2. Okay, that's what we want. We don't want it to move at all. I think this should work. Movement direction. We'll switch this. And we're going to do that all at once. We've got a lot of needless intermediaries, but, you know. Okay. I think this should work. If... so if there are no mobs, it's going to... Oh. Ideally, we would make this okay. We're going to use this anyway. And float range from -1, 1. There we go. Okay. So what's happening here is when 2 mob targeting happens, it's going to say select a mob and fire a projectile at it. Now, this is another weakness of the system that I have come up with, is because I have divorced movement from the entity, but templated it in, I have to have movement. But ideally, none of this happens. But we're going to assume this is how we want to make it work for the time being. So what it does is says, if there are no mobs to target, aim randomly. Just fire into the distance. But if there is a mob, get a random one of them and make its and make the target go from the player to the mob. So really, this isn't to mob. This is from player to mob. Here, we can use body to track. There we go. So then if we go into the player, yeah. We're going to have to do some real refactoring here. All right. Movement template is null. That's what's going on. So we go into this, and our movement template is to mob. Speed is 96, pretty fast. And our we've got to rip up the entirety of movement template. I think that whole logic isn't good right now. Okay, we go into the player. Its spawner spawns once a second. Okay. 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 Project. Auto loads. Go into our globals again. Okay, it's not adding it to this, it's adding it to the mob pool. Go into the game. And there is a node which is going to be the mob pool. In the game script, in the game object, the mob pool is the mob pool. Then in its ready, so body to track. Tracking movement should be part of the blob. Takes tracking movement. Tracking movement. Track body to move. You're in what? In tracking movement. But movement direction. Okay, it hasn't been set yet. Body to track should be player. All right, we're gonna. Okay, we have to redo movement entirely. All we know is that movement has a speed. So then in tracking movement, body to move still exists. Okay, so this is going to break a whole bunch of stuff, potentially. But we'll move through it. We'll move through it. So in track player movement, we always move towards the player. We can refine this a little bit, but we're not going to just yet. Straight line should still be fine, more or less. Gonna get some errors out of this. So we're going through and we're making very specific classes now. Name. Let's get some errors going here. Okay, so this should clean up some of the movement logic. All right, we need to be able to remove an index. I thought we had that. Doesn't return a modified array. We might need to come up with some sort of hashing logic for this. So we'll have to adjust this. It's getting 0. Why are we here if array size is 0? Yeah, there's nothing there. And random index is coming in at 11. That doesn't make sense. All right, we may need to come up with some sort of ID system. We're looking up dictionary here. Okay. So it's just curly braces. All right. Okay, it's accessed by index in that case. So what if... got to be some sort of identifier to it. Just skimming through here, seeing if we can find anything usable here. Nope. Setting some sort of identifier integer is asking for trouble. Because eventually you can run out of ints. I don't think that's really going to happen. All right, let's try this though. Okay, that won't work. Because it's by index currently. So we want to exclude 0 from this. Okay, okay. 0 to 1. I'm sorry. It's not from... Okay. So I've made it so it can't be 0. And then... no. So we want to be able to invert it. On a coin flip. There's got to be a better way to do this. So we're going to do this twice. Just this. Okay, so we set it to a non-zero value between 0 and 1. Actually, we can because it can't be 0, 0 is our problem. Okay, we can do this cleaner. Vector 2, right, rotate, rotated, and at F range 0 to 360. So we're gonna get an arbitrary direction. Okay. All right, well, we didn't. Now it's saying that there's nothing in there, but that doesn't make sense. We might be reusing IDs is part of the problem. We go into a mob body. All right, and then we go into our globals again. And 0. Does that work? Apparently not. Right, we're setting IDs now. Oh, um, no, that should be fine, right? Uh, all right, trying again. We're still getting things just sitting still, but and we're still getting the same problem. We can't see what's in mobs during this. Oh, no, we can. Okay, things can get nulled out. All right, so that's... We've looped around. We didn't need to be doing this. It was working as an array. So we need to figure out how to actually kill an instance in the dictionary. Okay. We don't want has. So we want to be able to get rid of a key. Because right now what's happening is that we're getting entities that don't exist. Yeah, because 210, even though the value is null, still exists. And we don't want to have to purge and rebuild the dictionary every time. Messing with the array would be sloppy. But we go about this differently. What if... So right now we're getting mobs. But what if, instead of messing with IDs, which we don't need anymore, that was a failed experiment anyway, so the mob pool is a node, which should only contain mob body entities. Oh. Bullets could be aiming at each other, too. We'll have to do a bullet pool as well. We'll have to categorize the entities being created here. But for the time being, I'm not going to say there are mobs. So we're going to say... a return? Yes, there is. Okay. Okay, this will get us the child count. Do this. No. Int. Just trying some syntax. Okay, this is very reliant on the structure of mob pool. Is so we're keeping this. I mean, ideally, nothing is referencing this. But we can. We can create various pools if we want to. We can create an entity called mob pool. We can create an entity in it. We can create various named entities. We just have to be careful how we do it. For the time being, this will work. This should work for the time being. Mob count. body to move in spawner. Let's reload it just in case something didn't get spawned properly. Oh. Let's clean this up further. We still have to clean up the idea that these bubbles can technically target each other. That and they don't originate from the spawner's position. But it's a start. This is a start. Okay. I think we're going to wrap up there for now, folks. What you think? What you think? I know we got kind of quiet there at the end. We're probably going to have to see some more refactoring in the near future. Some of the ideas that I had clearly are not panning out, so we're having to tear them up and make variations. The movement pattern is, I think, one of those things. I might ultimately have to bake that in to the object itself, but I still like the idea of being able to rapidly stamp out different ones that follow the same conventions. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. It seems like we might have it functioning right now. But yeah. Good times. Now, tomorrow, we are going to be doing a book reading. I don't know what it's going to be. We're going to start out by loading up a game called The Longing. In it, there are public domain books to read. Part of the gimmick of the game is that you have to spend more than a year in the game in order to complete it, and one of the things you can do is read books. We'll do that. I don't know that we'll ever finish that game, but reading the books is kind of the goal, or the purpose for now. But yeah, I do hope everybody had a good time tonight. We did make progress. We are going to be back to coding on Tuesday, I think. We'll see. I'll get the schedule up. But if you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like and subscribe and similar. It will help you see more of my content in the future. All that said, good night, everybody.